Have you ever, been tempted to fake a sick note to get a day off? It seems pretty harmless, right? Like a little white lie. Well, you might want to think again because it turns out the law sees it, well, a lot differently. Today, we're going to dive into the surprisingly serious crime of fake medical certificates.
All right, so let's just get straight to the big question here. Is a fake sick note really a serious crime? I mean, you might think it's a minor issue. Maybe you get a slap on the wrist from HR and that's it. But the legal reality? Wow, it is on a completely different level.
And look, this isn't just some hypothetical problem we're talking about. It's actually become so widespread that India's top legal advisors have officially labeled it a growing malpractice. Now, when experts start using language like that, you know they are taking this very, very seriously.
Now, what's so interesting here is the language being used. This is a direct quote from a Law Commission of India working paper. They're not talking about some minor annoyance. No, they're talking about a systemic problem that needs to be checked, which basically means stopped in its tracks. And this document right here really shows you how serious this is. The Commission is formally debating whether the laws we have right now are even strong enough. They're actually considering adding entirely new sections to the Indian Penal Code just to deal with this specific issue. That is a huge deal. So what is the actual crime here? Let's break down the legal definition of a false certificate, and you'll really start to see why it's treated so seriously. Okay, so here's the core definition, straight from the law books, Section 197 of the Indian Penal Code. It's crystal clear. The key parts are, 1, the certificate has to be required by law, and 2, the person issuing it has to know it's false on what they call a material point. And that's really just legal speak for a detail that's important enough to actually matter. And here it is. This is the absolute kicker, the part that surprises pretty much everyone. The punishment for issuing a false certificate is the exact same as the punishment for giving false evidence. Just let that sink in for a second. In the eyes of the law, a fake sick note is the same as lying under oath in a courtroom. Now, the law makes a really important distinction here. It sees two different roles in this crime. There's the person who actually creates the fake certificate, and then there's the person who uses it. Let's take a look at how this breaks down. So, as you can see, the law splits this into two. On the left, under Section 197, you've got the issuer. That's the doctor or official who knowingly signs the fake document. Then on the right, under Section 198, you have the user. That's the person who takes that false document and tries to use it for some dishonest purpose, what the law calls corruptly using it. This table lays it all out nice and clearly. You can see that both the issuer and the user face that exact same very serious punishment. The classification here is also important. Non-cognizable means the police can't just arrest someone without a warrant, and bailable means the accused has a right to be released on bail. It just gives you a sense of the specific legal process. So, that's the law as it stands today. But, like we saw earlier, a lot of legal experts think this might not be enough. The whole debate is now shifting towards creating even stronger, more specific punishments just for this crime. And this is a really fascinating glimpse into that debate. These are notes from a real working session where legal minds are discussing expanding who's liable. They're not just looking at the doctor who signs the form anymore. They're seriously considering whether an entire company could be held responsible. And these are the big questions being debated right now. Should a brand new law like a Section 198A be created just for this? Should the punishment be way harsher if the fake certificate is used in court? Can you actually hold an entire company criminally liable? These are the complex questions the legal system is trying to figure out right now. So, after all this legal detail, why does any of this really matter to you? Okay, let's just boil it all down to the one critical thing you need to remember.
So, if there's only one thing you take away from all this, it's this. A fake medical certificate is not just a little lie. In the eyes of the law, it's treated with the same seriousness as lying under oath in court. It's a major offense because it undermines the trust we have in a system that absolutely has to rely on official documents being true.
And that leaves us with one final thought, especially for the world we live in today. With everything being digitized, with employers and schools able to verify records with just a few clicks, is the potential reward of, say, a day off really worth the risk of committing a crime that's seen as the same as perjury? That's definitely something to think about.